throws quickly, wide open is Sadiq, and he scores. Touchdown, Oregon. And it's intercepted. Dante Manning has Johnson heading to the end zone. James weaving his way to the end zone. Touchdown, Ducks. Going deep, far sideline. It's intercepted. And the Ducks are going to quack their way to the Big Ten championship.
Howard from the pocket. A downfield shot on first down for the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State.
Tuimoloau ends up cleaning it up. This defense, man.
Henderson. Touchdown, Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith. His second tonight. Henderson breaks free. House call. The Buckeyes can begin planning for Pasadena in a rematch with the Ducks.
The stage is set for the 111th Rose Bowl. It's top-seeded Oregon and 8th-seeded Ohio State ringing in the new year here in Southern California in an all-Big Ten CFP quarterfinal. And we are delighted to be here in LA at media headquarters. Yogi Roth, Ashley Adamson, welcome to our Big Ten Network Rose Bowl Media Day special. We will be with you for the next 2.5 hours. Yes, 2.5 hours as we hear from coaches and players as we get set to break down what's going to be a terrific rematch from the regular season. Yogi, this is your 18th Rose Bowl?
18, Ash.
18.
I can't believe it.
I feel like you're not old enough to have been to 18 Rose Bowls, but there is so much that has changed in college football, and yet this game, whether it's a CFP game or a traditional Rose Bowl, there is something really special about the Granddaddy.
Yeah, and both coaching staffs, and even more importantly, both fan bases, I think, understand that. And big picture college football, I think, is yearning for something to grab a hold of, and you have it with this Rose Bowl, with these two storied programs. You got Ohio State. They've tried to leave no doubt all season long. They find themselves able to accomplish one of the three goals, and probably the biggest one if you look at the national championship. Then you've got that team out west in the Oregon Ducks that have gone undefeated year one in the Big Ten Conference. Ash, the stakes are incredible. I think this feels like a national championship game, and simultaneously it feels so nostalgic for a New Year's Day against these two classic teams.
Yeah, and if you think back to October 12th, 79 days ago when these two met at Autzen Stadium, it was an instant classic, and I think if we learned anything about that game, I think we are looking forward to another instant classic here on New Year's Day. Just big picture, the thing that you were most interested in seeing as this game plays out?
I can't wait to see how teams handle the stage, right? Here's Oregon. They're coming off of a bye, right? They finally got a break after a gauntlet in Big Ten play. And then here's Ohio State. They finally looked the part. I mean, I thought in their most recent game against Tennessee, they looked the best they looked all season long. They looked like they did in training camp, Ash. Can they cut it loose again? Do they play tight like they did against Michigan? And then for Oregon, how do they navigate this massive stage of being undefeated? Which team feels more pressure? I'd be curious when we talk to these teams and players today, how they're navigating the opportunity in front of them, the eyes that will be on them, and the plays that we, of course, will anticipate happening once again.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to break it all down and to hear from the players. And again, the coaches. We'll have both head coaches up here on set with us. It's going to be a fun 2.5 hours. We will be with you anchoring our coverage here from Los Angeles, but anchoring our coverage back in our Chicago studios, it's Kylan Mills and Howard Griffith. Guys?
Thank you, Ash. The college football playoffs roll on. 8 teams still in play for a national title, including 3 schools from the Big Ten. 6-seeded Penn State meets 3rd-seeded Boise State on Tuesday in the Fiesta Bowl. Then top-seeded Oregon and 8th-seeded Ohio State clash on New Year's Day in the Rose Bowl. That will be an epic rematch of a 1-point game in the regular season. Our Rose Bowl Media Day coverage continues as we welcome you into our Chicago studios alongside the 2-time Super Bowl champ Howard Griffith. I'm Kylan Mills. We're going to get you back out to LA to hear from both Oregon and Ohio State in just a few. First, though, we got to talk about the fact that this is a rematch from the regular season, Howard. Just the 7th time a Rose Bowl has been a rematch, and this is a bowl game that dates back to 1902, and it was one of the best games in college football all season long, a 1-point ball game between Oregon and Ohio State. But I imagine this is one the Buckeyes wanted back. They had the chance to win it on that final possession.
Had opportunities to win it, and it just didn't come down to the final possession. It was plays that could have been made throughout the game, and it's never just that one play. I always talk about there's always 5 affordable plays in each game that really can change the outcome, and Ohio State didn't take advantage of some of those situations. But the beauty of playing a team a second time is that you understand what you need to improve on, but you also should be cautious about about some new schemes, some new plays that are going to come into the game plan on offense, defense, and then special teams.
One thing that's tough for Oregon is that it's very difficult to beat a good team twice. Ohio State actually comes into this game as 2.5-point favorites. How can that be a challenge for the Ducks as they look to make adjustments?
Well, I'm looking forward to really hearing about this, and Yogi alluded to it earlier in his comments. The pressure that is building on Oregon, being undefeated and playing on the stage, and not have played already, had a bye. I don't know that people were excited about the bye, but there could be a little bit of an advantage of being able to already played a game and you understand what's out there. But this is going to be fascinating. It really is, to be able to see these two teams go back and forth at what they can get done. Because you look back to the first game, there were opportunities, as I mentioned, left out there for both teams that they could have taken advantage of. And we'll see how they adapt early in this game.
Oregon, one of the most complete teams in college football. Ohio State has the best defense in college football. This is going to be an extremely fun matchup in the Rose Bowl. And Rose Bowl Media Day is now underway in downtown LA. So let's head out to the podium to hear from Oregon head coach Dan Lanning.
Yeah, I mean, every game has an identity, into itself. And obviously, watching this most recent game, Ohio State played really well. They have a lot of strengths. They're really good on both sides of the ball and really good on special teams. So I think what you recognize when you watch the film is a team that has a lot of strengths, a team that's really talented and really good. Yeah, Tim's a guy that I've become close to over the last couple of years. He does an unbelievable job, being able to deliver a message. I think he sees things black and white, which I certainly appreciate, and I'm glad that he was able to share a message with our team. Yeah, the way you maintain it is you win, right? And you do that by focusing on each play, each moment, not making it bigger than it is, right? Just trying to make sure that you can maintain your focus on what your job is. Everybody has a job for the team, doing that job for your team. And if we do that, then things can go the right way. Yeah, first off, I had an outside looking in of the Big Ten. It was a conference that I had a lot of respect for. Obviously, some great teams. I think the history of this conference is unique and special, something that we were really excited to be a part of. And then I've been extremely impressed with the leadership, from Tony Petitti, the commissioner, and everybody, from that standpoint, as well as the opportunity to get to go play against, teams in some unbelievable venues. And all those things have been really rewarding. I think it is a physical conference. It's obviously one of the best conferences, if not the best conference in college football. So I'm glad that we get to be a part of it. And our goal is always just to play to our best, right? Don't focus on the result, but focus on the process. And if we're playing our best football, the rest takes care of itself. Yeah, I think to be able to play great football, regardless of conference, especially down the stretch, you got to have great size. You got to have great athleticism. We looked for guys that fit us from a character mold, and then also had those attributes, had size, speed, the ability to anchor in a conference that's a physical conference, and then, down the stretch when it matters the most.
You don't have to defend Dillon, Gabriel as a team. How would you defend them if you were going against Dillon, Gabriel?
I wouldn't tell you that. But Dillon's obviously an unbelievable player. I think he's a really hard player to defend because of the things that he can do, the decisions that he makes. The moments that he shows up in, pressure moments, I think that's where he shines the most, which is really important at that position, his poise and confidence in those moments, and then his trust in the guys around him. Well, I think you hope that you can feel that pressure, right? If you're in moments like this, you're certainly going to feel pressure, right? And I think anybody that says they're not, they're lying. But that's what you want to coach towards. You want to be in positions where pressure is applied. And, Kirby said it before, but I agree with him. Pressure is a privilege, right? If you put yourself in position to where you're going to have pressure, that's something you have to be able to handle. And our team's handled it really well so far. Have to continue to do so down the stretch. Yeah, I'd probably say Jordan's leadership. Jordan obviously has been a great runner for us. He's taken advantage of a lot of moments. When the ball's been in his hands, he's played really well. The way he practices is the part that nobody gets to see. Jordan James practices extremely hard. He's the guy when the whistle blows at practice, he's going to run another 20 yards after that. He has the right mindset. He wants to come out there and work every day. He's not, even if he's dinged up, he's not the guy that's going to be on the sideline. So his availability and his leadership and then the way he practices, I think, really shows up for our team.
Thank you, Kylan. We are here with the dual sport athlete and homegrown star from Eugene, the former walk-on who is now the Ducks' leading tackler. They're going to be making movies about your story one day here in Hollywood, I think, Bryce. Congratulations on winning the Burlsworth Trophy. Congratulations on an unbelievable season. I know you aren't done yet, but just as you look around and you see the roses and you're sitting up here on a set, can you take it all in and realize that you're about to play in the Rose Bowl?
Yeah, I definitely can. It's a dream come true to be in this spot. But again, once we win, then it'll finally be the dream come true. So, that's the plan, and looking forward to it.
You made some news in advance of this game. As a child, you came to the Rose Bowl when it was this matchup. What do you recall about sitting in the stands that day? You said you were kind of far back, even though there's not a bad seat in the Rose Bowl, but I'm curious your experience there as a child.
Yeah, I was little. I think I was probably about 6 years old, so I remember a little bit of tailgating. And like I said, I remember being in the stands, and it felt like I was a mile away. How far away I actually was, I'm not sure. But that's really all I remember, and then obviously losing the game, I remember that. That's about it.
You're ready to make some new core memories in Pasadena.
Yes, ma'am. I'm ready to do that.
And interestingly enough, Chip Kelly was the head coach at Oregon in 2010 in that game, and now he's the offensive coordinator for Ohio State. When you think about what the Buckeyes do well on offense, obviously I know you guys played them October 12th and had some success. Yeah. I think Will Howard is an excellent quarterback, and he played well against you guys. But where did you find success, and where can you build on that coming into this postseason rematch?
Yeah, I think heating them up on defense and, just doing our job. Obviously, they have a lot of weapons on offense, and it's hard to, try to eliminate just one of them because they have a lot of different guys that can do a lot of different things on their team. They're talented. But just doing our job, doing our assignment, and then just playing hard in between the whistles. Just being the tougher team, the more physical team. And I think if we do that and we're all on the same page on defense, we'll have a lot of success.
Being such a fan of this program growing up and then achieving that lifelong dream of being a starter on this team right now in the stage that you're at in advance of this game, I'm curious for you, what in your journey stands out in terms of this game now shows up for you? You have an opportunity to play on a huge stage. Yeah, no one, when you were growing up, probably said, yeah, Bryce, he's a special kid, but he's going to start at inside linebacker for the Oregon Ducks and a chance to go to the national championship. It means a lot. It's a lot of hard work and days that, go unseen. Especially being a walk-on from the area. But at the same time, it's just a step in the right direction. I always have my head down, walk-on mentality, and I always will. I feel like that's just, kind of who I am as a person and what my parents, raised me to be. It's just a blessing to be in this spot. Like I said, it's a dream come true to play in the Rose Bowl, and I'm looking forward to Wednesday. It's going to be a fun one. This defense has an edge about them, and you do in particular. I keep having this vision of you walking around Autzen with that baseball bat a few weeks ago. But most people know you're drafted by the Astros. You won a Gold Glove for playing center field for the Ducks. How did being a baseball player make you a better football player? I'd say two things. One, they're pretty similar, playing outfield and linebacker. It's kind of like seeing the ball hit off the bat or making a read and just going full speed and not, second-guessing yourself or hesitating. So just having that, balls to the wall attitude and just going for it even when, you may not be unsure, but you just still go for it. And then obviously I'd say, like when you come up to the plate in a big spot, like I've been in quite a few playoff games and in big spots, there's no more pressure than it's just you and everyone watching in baseball. And I think that comes to help me in, big games like this or on the football field when you feel like the magnitude's a little bit more. At the end of the day, it's just another game. You got to do your job. And once you do that and do your assignment, good things will happen. Well, you have met every moment and you have done your job in such a terrific way. It's been a joy to watch you guys this season. Looking forward to New Year's Day in Pasadena. Thank you.
Kylan, thank you so much. The set did just get a little bit beefier. 2 absolute game wreckers here with Jordan Burch and Matayo Uiagalelei. Gentlemen, great to see you. Welcome to LA. Welcome to Rose Bowl Media Day. I know that you guys are locked in, but I'm going to start with you, Jordan, because you didn't get a chance to play the Buckeyes back in October. What do you remember about watching that game, the experience of watching that game, what you learned, and how excited you are to be able to strap them up and play them on New Year's Day?
Yeah, not being able to play, it kind of hurt a little bit, but being able to watch my guys go out, the way they prepared and the way they were able to go out and perform was a great feeling. Just being able to see that there's no fall off in our offensive defense, just being able to see my guys go and get the win, it was a great feeling. Seeing Coach Lanning in the locker room hype after the game, just being able to, get a rematch, be able to play again for my guys and with my guys.
A rematch is one thing, Matayo, but a rematch in your backyard is another. I was talking to your dad, Big Dave. He said his nickname for you is Young Concrete. So you come on back to L.A. You're part of this concrete defensive line right now. What are you most excited about coming to L.A. and playing in this game against Ohio State?
Yeah, just the opportunity to play in the Rose Bowl is special. But, I don't know, I think just to have a full group, just having Burch back, and just having a group that, we've gone through the whole season and we kind of know what we need to work on and the little things we need to fix. So I feel like we're ready.
You had the only sack of the game when you guys played them back in October at your place. What does having Jordan Burch on the field even just do for you from a mental standpoint?
Shoot. Guys, you already know he's going to wreak havoc no matter what. Burch is just, he's a freak. In all facets.
You got a scouting report on him you want to offer up?
Great player. Whatever he does on Saturday, he does it on Monday. So, throughout the whole week, he's working on that move or preparing. And so most of the time, a lot of the times, he's helping me. So he's telling me what to work on the tackles, watching film, giving me tips. And then y'all see the way he plays. He's always active, getting after the quarterback. He's just a great player, a great athlete.
40 sacks as a defense, 5 shy of the program record for a single season. I remember talking to Kayvon Thibodeau a few years ago about the art of getting to the quarterback, and he said that there's a huge mental aspect of it as well, that you want the quarterback to be thinking about you, whether or not you're coming for him or not. So just from both of you, what would you say is the key, sort of the art and science to being able to get to the backfield and impact the quarterback, Matayo?
I think just even if you don't get a sack, just you finishing in front of the quarterback's face, or like you hit him after the play legally. Just being back there. I don't know. Maybe Burch got a little more, but just affecting him.
Yeah, I would say any way we can rile up the quarterback. So even if he does get the ball off, pushing him a little bit, just to know that we're there. So if he holds the ball any longer, that might be a sack. Just being around him, if he runs out of bounds, I'm right next to him. So he can, he'll think about me anytime he's about to throw the ball or do something with the ball. I'm around him.
Yeah, your defensive front is clearly intimidating. As is your defensive coordinator, Tosh Lupoy. I go to practice, or you watching the pregame. He's hitting guys in the shoulder pads. He's getting after. What is it like to play for someone with that type of intensity and his background at a position that you two are familiar with?
Yeah, that's a great feeling to have a coach like that. He's bringing energy. If it's a hard practice and you're feeling down a little bit, he's always yelling, trying to get us prepared for what's to come. And he won't let you, fall off. So if there's any a day you feel like you're having a bad practice, he's there for you. So just having that energy, him to get us hyped before the game, and what he brings pregame. So get our mind right and have us ready for the game is a great feeling.
This team is so connected. I think it's one of the things that's so easy to watch when we see you guys play and the way that you celebrate each other coming off the field. Where did you first see this culture start to take hold? And I know it always starts with the players because the best locker rooms are player-led. Where did you first see it, Jordan?
Probably preseason. We do a lot of events with Coach Lanning. Just seeing how everybody comes together for those events. And then if you look at our team as a whole, anytime somebody needs something, we're always there for each other. We can be around. We'll have everybody at the house eating. It's just the culture that we have, and then that leads onto the football field. So just that brotherly love, that brotherhood, and just, you know, being there for each other.
Yeah, this defense has been one of the tops in America all season long. You're coming off a game where maybe you didn't play your best against Penn State defensively. What has it been like in advance of this, knowing you got an explosive offense on their side, Matayo?
Yeah, I just see it as another opportunity. You know, I think we gave up a lot of yards. We gave up almost like 300 yards in rushing against Penn State. And coming back after that game, that was something we worked on. And I don't know, I feel like we're prepared. And we're gonna be focused.
I like the focus. You feel the focus.
I feel the focus. Like I can tell, we're still 48 hours away, but I can tell you guys are locked in. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time. Enjoy the next couple of days, and we look forward to seeing you on New Year's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's fun. You know, I think family's very important, obviously, but not just because, you know, we're blood related, but, you know, the choice to be around one another and the support, the love, and the connection we have, it's special. And I think as you get older, you have to value that in order to keep it close. And, you know, we do that. And they spend time, you know, around me and what I do and support me. And just having them, you know, around keeps me super happy. And I think the pure joy of just having people that love you, support you for who you are, that's irreplaceable. So I'm very grateful for them. Say it one more time, sir.
Last time Oregon was in the playoff, was when Marcus was quarterback. So do you remember what it was like watching him and kind of envisioning yourself being that person one day?
I do. I wouldn't say envision it myself. Now that I'm here, it's crazy, and I'm still shocked. But I think at a certain point, you know, there's flashes of memories that, you know, watching him do what he did, and then now being able to go do it for myself. You appreciate that journey. You know, and I think now that I'm on the journey myself, I, you know, tend to look to him and his experiences and how he's, you know, been better from it or what he would change. And just having that relationship is very special. And like I said, a lot of people, they don't have to do any of this, but he's understanding of the role he plays and, you know, the leader he was, the trailblazer he was and is for Hawaii athletes. So I appreciate that and don't take it lightly because he doesn't have to do it, but he does it out of the kindness of his heart and knows that, you know, I'm just a guy chasing my dream as well.
Dillon, with only 1 year, how did you approach working with the backup quarterbacks and guys like Dante as well to hope that even though you were over here, only here for a short time?
Yeah, I think, you know, college football is interesting now, and you're able to be in different environments, different QB rooms, different unit groups, and you learn a lot about people and how to adapt and how to, you know, push one another. But more importantly, Dante's just been a great friend of mine. You know, my roommate on away games and even, you know, our home game hotels. But just that relationship has continued to grow, and you know, you appreciate a guy who's pushes you in practice and you know, the throws he makes and the plays he makes on a day-to-day basis. It allows us to push one another, but also a guy who's played the game, you know, in real time, and you know, his knowledge and being able to sit back there and then now taking a different perspective. You appreciate that, and like I said, he's a guy that is special, and I'm happy that we get to have this time together.
What we had last year to what we had this year, what does that say about him willing to come and learn from a guy like you and learn from our coaches, where he could have probably gone somewhere else and started again if he wanted to?
Yeah, I think more than anything, he believed in Coach Lanning and the program that he was building and the people that are already here, and you know, the track record of the people he brings in or brought in, and you know, I think Dante's right where he needs to be, and you know, he wanted to come here in the beginning, and now he's able to, you know, get right back here. I think it was an easy transition because he's been here a bunch, and everyone knows him really well. But like I said, Dante's my dude, and he's a special dude. Thank you.
Let's talk to Coach Lanning about Jordan James.
Yep.
He said he's seen such massive growth out of him this season, but more more so is his unique way of practicing. Now, we don't get to see that every day, but you do. How would you describe the way he practices?
Well, Jordan James is he's one of a kind in terms of practice and being physical. He's not afraid to get physical or create contact, and I think it's different because in practice you think there is that sense of taking care of one another, and he does, but he's the type, he's just a player. When he gets on that field, he's going to be physical, he's going to create contact. That's just his style of play, so he don't change that for practice. It's fun to watch, and he kind of sets the tone for everyone in how we play. He's up there. He's up there. I've played around a bunch of players, but I think just his nature. I think the combination of a lot of things, not only his physical nature, but how fast he is, just the way he runs with the football. There's a lot that makes him special, and don't want to just limit it to physicality. Yeah, we're better when Jordan Burch is playing. He's a great player. He's a great dude. One of my really close friends. But he's also one of our leaders. So I think all in all, he's a guy you want on the field, and happy we have him on the field.
Dillon, you know, visited by Tim Brover, Michael Jordan, Cody, Dwayne Wade. When you guys learn from Tim Brover and have him speak to your team, get out of that, what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I think Tim was unbelievable. His ability to motivate, but it being so natural and not have to be somebody he's not, but more importantly, just speak on his experiences and what he's been around, and that's greatness. And I think, his ability to, tell that story and give us, real world examples. I think everyone was able to take it in a different way and how it could connect to them. And, whenever we can get a guy like him in our building, please and thank you. So happy we were able to have him there.
Having Kenyon Sadiq, for example, a guy that knows that has to come back and do what does his presence feel like for you? Not just on the field, but also back in the locker room. You guys can get
Yeah, on the field, another weapon. A guy who's a great playmaker, but off the field and just in the locker room, he's very calming and just a mature individual for his age. And anytime you can have him on the field, it's a plus. But more importantly, in the locker room, the confidence he brings and the depth he brings to that room that's already, pretty deep. We appreciate him and just that whole group. They're really good at keeping everyone together, and that's kind of their nature, right? The tight ends are very selfless leaders.
Kylan, thank you. Pleased to be joined by the offensive coordinator for the Oregon Ducks, Will Stein. We're going to talk about your journey in just a minute because I know you love talking about yourself.
I love talking about it.
I know you do. That's what we're going to start there. But I also love hearing, what are your memories of the Rose Bowl? This is such a special game. I know you haven't been to one, but what are your memories of watching this game growing up, Will?
Well, it was really unique to play UCLA this year and to see the Rose Bowl for the first time in person. A kid from Louisville, Kentucky. Grew up really more in SEC country, Big Ten country for me, but to see this game and to be a part of it in person, I mean, you think about the great games, Vince Young running into the end zone against SC, some of the great Oregon matchups in the Rose Bowl as well. It's a special game, it's going to be really cool to hear the commentators, and to see the crowd and the 100,000 that are going to be in the Rose Bowl.
Let's talk about your path, though, because it's remarkable. It's been a meteoric rise. 2 years ago, you're the offensive coordinator for UTSA. You started as a walk-on quarterback at Louisville, where you grew up, you just mentioned. And then you earned the starting job. A guy named Teddy Bridgewater comes in when you get injured. I don't know, some guy. I think
Still
I pronounced
playing,
it well.
man.
But then you decided to go the coaching route. And I just think, it wasn't that long ago that you were playing as a walk-on turned starter at Louisville. How would you describe your journey, and how did your playing career allow you to become the coach that you are right now?
Well, thank God for Teddy, because if I wouldn't have gotten hurt, he wouldn't have gotten in the game. Maybe he probably still would have gotten in the game at some point. But then the Louisville program took off. Charlie Strong got the Texas job. I meet Jeff Traylor at Texas. Everything kind of happens for a reason, and I'm sitting here today on a big stage for the granddaddy of them all. So it's it's been a wild journey for me, my wife, my now 2 kids. Everybody back home in Louisville is, extremely happy and proud of where I'm at today. But I kind of always knew I would get here. I just didn't know how it would happen, what type of journey it would be. Everybody in coaching has a different story, has a different journey. I mean, Dan Lanning was a middle school PE teacher. There's guys on our staff that were high school coaches. So everybody has different rises in this profession. But it just goes back to treating people the right way, grinding, having great players, being a student of the game, growth mindset oriented. And when you can do that, you give yourself a chance to sit on a stage with you guys here. Doesn't always happen for people. There's some phenomenal coaches in the country that aren't here, that are coaching high school ball, middle school, maybe FCS, D2, other great Division I coaches too. But I'm very blessed to be in this position and excited about the game that we're about to play.
You talked about paths. Dillon Gabriel's path is anything but linear on his way to Oregon, Eugene. He was just in New York City. You were back there for the Heisman finalist less than a week ago, it seems like. How has he gained ownership of this system in such a short period of time? And how do you make sure that he and this office doesn't feel the pressure that can come with the granddaddy of them all, as you reference?
Well, Yogi, you should see his notes. You should see his notes. He carries his iPad around everywhere. I was just telling somebody, it'll be like 5 minutes before we run out of the tunnel, and he has his iPad out, still watching third down cut-ups, still watching red area cut-ups. Like, he is a grinder, and it's not a secret why he has success. He loves football. He loves his teammates. He practices every single day like it's a game. And then on top of that, he's extremely talented. Don't let his size, his stature tell you how big he plays. He plays extremely tall in the pocket, and no moment's too big for Dillon.
And I think that's, as we let you go on this one, no moment is too big for Dillon. And I think that when the lights are the brightest, it feels like he is the most comfortable. That's not something you can coach, although we will give you credit for it if you'd like.
I wish I could say that was all me, but it's all him. It's all his family. His mom, Dory, dad, Garrett. They've raised a phenomenal son, number one. His now fiance, Zoe. Like, they are unreal people. Like, if you get around Dillon outside of the walls of our facility and just hang out with him, he's so much fun. He brings so much life to every single setting that he's in, makes everybody feel loved and special. So I think his upbringing and probably is why he's so calm, cool, collected in the games, but don't let his kindness distract you with how intense he is.
Yeah.
He is an extremely intense individual. He's competitive as hell and wants to win in everything that he does.
A kind-hearted dog, as
right.
they say. That's right. Will, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations, and I know you're not done yet. 13 down, 3 more to go.
That's right.
Good luck. We'll see you on New Year's.
Thanks. See ya.
The head coach of the Oregon Ducks, Dan Lanning, joining us now at Rose Bowl Media Day. Coach, first and foremost, congratulations. It has been unbelievable to watch what your team has been able to do this season. I know there is still food left on the table, as you always say, but just to look around and know the moment that you're in. This is the only New Year's Six Bowl that you haven't coached in, is that right?
This is the one. Yeah, This is the one. So certainly excited.
What do you remember about the Rose Bowl growing up?
Just granddaddy of them all, right? That historic roll in, 2 p.m. and then by the end of the game, it's dark and generally some really exciting games to watch.
You're incredible with messaging with your team. How do you navigate this one with the nostalgia of the Rose Bowl, as you referenced in the Granddaddy, food on the table, like Ashley referenced, and being undefeated and wondering, are there pressures our team is feeling and you having to find the pulse of that?
Yeah, I think pressure is a privilege. Kirby said that before. I certainly agree with him. So it's great to be able to be in this moment. More than all that, though, it's about the game, right? And it's about our process and we going out there and executing. And if you have a great play, being able to get to the next play. If you have a bad play, being able to get to the next play. So the messaging hasn't really necessarily changed for us. And even though the moment feels big, we talk about playing the game, not the occasion.
We have talked in years past about what feels like a lack of overall selflessness that's gone away in college football. This team completely bucks that trend. It feels like, and we've talked about it, how connected this team is from the outside. You can feel it. I just wonder for you what it's like to coach a team that is this connected, and what's unique specifically about the DNA traits of this group.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's what makes this team really special. They celebrate each other's success. They want to see each other have success, and they realize, through that, team success will happen. And I think that speaks a little bit to our guys' emotional maturity, right? In a world where that doesn't necessarily exist, I think we have a group of guys that care about each other, right? And they want to see each other have success. And, because of that, it kind of all works out.
Speaking of working out, we think about Bryce Boettcher's path, Dillon Gabriel's path, Jordan Burch's path, Matayo, all totally different. Yeah. How have you and your staff been able to take guys from various parts of the country and or high schools and or other schools and pull them for this one common goal, to the word Ashley referenced around connection?
Well, you talk about potential, and potential is just that. But I think our staff's done an unbelievable job of recognizing potential. I think our players have done an unbelievable job of having confidence in their ability. And then us putting them in those situations where they can have success. And when you have great players, there's opportunities to have great moments. And we've had a lot of great moments because of those guys recognizing their potential.
Dan, one of the things that's just been unbelievable to watch, it feels like every week you are able to tell a story to your team about the competitive edge that you think you might have. And that story somehow seems like it plays out in real time on Saturdays. I'm just curious how you kind of started doing that. Was it more specific to this year, or are we just seeing it now more because you're letting us inside a little bit? But how do you come up with knowing what maybe your players need to hear every single week?
Yeah, I've said it before. I think sometimes motivation can be overrated. We've certainly had some great moments this year where we've been able to tell a great story, and it's not necessarily unsimilar to things that we've done in the past, but there's probably a little bit more of a backstage view now for our team. But when you get to see those play out, I think that creates belief in our team. I think that creates a lot of moments where our guys recognize, hey, if we do these things, we're gonna have success. So we try to paint a picture, before the season starts, of what we would like each game to look like. What are some of the obstacles that'll be in front of us, and then being adaptable within those moments too, of recognizing, okay, what's the storyline, for this game? What's going to be the differences in success and not success on the field?
Okay, speaking of moments, last time you played Ohio State, there was a couple big ones, right? Where there was a surprise onside, where there was a 4th and 1 opportunity to go for it. You've had those throughout your head coaching tenure in Eugene. How do you navigate those in this game, or on the pulse of your team, being able to handle not just when it works, but if it doesn't?
Yeah, we talk about handling those moments either direction, right? And we actually try to recreate those in practice. We'll try to create sudden changes in practice where we have to be ready to adapt and handle a bad situation. We do the same with good situations. So to me, everything's about how many times can you play the game before the game, right? How many times can you recreate moments that'll show up within the game and be able to, attack in those moments.
Last thing, I think, when I look back at the Big Ten Championship 3 weeks ago, we had a chance to meet and visit with your dad, Don, who was a delight of a human being, obviously so proud of his son. And he said something that has stuck with Eugene. He said that everything you touch sort of just turns to gold, that you win at everything that you do. I'm just curious, what is it about raising, being his son and thinking about your mom and what they instilled in you that allowed you to be sitting here on this desk on this stage?
Yeah, really special people. Obviously, I'm blessed to have the best parents in the world. And, of course, he's going to say that about his son, so I think you need to take it with a grain of salt. But they worked really, really hard for me to be able to have opportunities. And on the same note, I think they always made sure that if I had a dream, I could chase it. And, I'm grateful that they let me chase my dreams.
Coach, real quick before I let you go, will you take a minute before the game and just kind of take a look around at the greatest setting in one of the most unique times in the history of this sport?
I'll certainly try.
Yeah.
I can't promise that I will. I don't want to rest before the job's been accomplished. But you hope at some point in your life you get to sit back and reflect on how special moments like this really are.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can take in as many as you can along the way. It's been a special season, as we mentioned, and we just appreciate you sharing it with us. Thanks for the time today.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Back to you guys in Chicago.
A player who's had a special season for head coach Dan Lanning is tight end Terrence Ferguson. He has the most career touchdown receptions by an Oregon tight end all time with 16. He also has the second most career receiving yards by an Oregon tight end all time with nearly 1,500. Let's hear from him now at Rose Bowl Media Day.
Yeah, I think Oregon football is different. I think just the resources we have, the coaching we have, the players we've been able to pull. But honestly, we lean on our DNA traits. That's connection, growth, toughness, and sacrifice. And I think when you play with those and you can turn on the tape and see those as a team, it's just any team will be successful with that. So we just really lean on those, and our coach has done a great job. The resources we have in Oregon is unbelievable.
Gabriel came into the program already very established in his previous stops.
Yeah.
He's taken it to another level with you guys. I mean, what makes Dillon so special?
Yeah, Dillon's he's special on the field and off the field. I think a couple things that make him special is his competitiveness. He attacks every day like it's a game. He's one of the hardest working people I've ever seen. If you don't see him without an iPad, watching film or taking notes, something's wrong. So it doesn't matter if he's eating dinner at his house, he has the iPad, you know. And so he's a hard worker. He's competitive, but also just his leadership off the field. He's a guy who's connected to everyone. It doesn't matter if you're the kicker, the fifth string receiver, or the star receiver. He doesn't care. He's connected. He has a relationship with those guys. He's a unique individual, and he's just someone who cares about everyone. So he makes everyone feel special.
Thank you, Kyle. And yes, they call him El Jefe, the boss. Jeffrey Bassa joining us here on set. And the last time I was sitting on this set with you a few months ago in July in Indianapolis, getting ready for the season, and you sort of laid out what you thought was possible for this team. And here you are, 13-0 and a chance to play Ohio State again in the Rose Bowl. I'm just curious what this journey has been like for you this season.
Yeah, this journey's been, nothing but amazing, right? Starting off the season, going against Idaho, and then, looking at the time that we are here now, right? Just the manifestation that, you mentioned at the media days, right? Just telling you that, we wanted to be back at the Lucas Oil Stadium, and then, being able to be in this position now, it's a blessing, right? So I think all the highs and lows and all the big and bad moments and everything has been showing up, right, for this team and as well for me, right? Getting dinged up a little bit earlier in the season, but then having resiliency to, feel like myself again and feel 100%.
You have referenced mentors of yours many times, whether it's Kayvon Thibodeau, Verone McKinley, and others, now that you're the leader and the voice of this side of the ball. How have you tried to lead and make sure that your side of the ball doesn't feel pressure, coming off a game where there's probably been some critics the last time this defense played?
Yeah, I think just my preparation, just making sure that all of my guys are on the same page, and then as well that I know the opponent just as much as the coaches know the opponent as well, right? So I know that they're going to be leaning on me for, okay, Jeff, what can we expect, right? And whenever the coaches aren't there, right? So, and then as well as just relating to my guys on a personal level, I think that with me having the trust and belief in my teammates, I know that they'll look out on the field and can depend on me, right, in those tough situations or those good or bad moments, right? So, and as well as just being a guy who's always going to be on his P's and Q's, I should say, right? Just knowing my job and knowing my assignment to an elite level.
I think about your guys' journey this year, and you specifically, you recruited to Oregon to play safety, and now you're a leader of this defense at inside linebacker. What was the moment that you felt like this team had the capability to do what it's doing? Was there a moment in the preseason or early on that you kind of started to see everybody come together? Because as you mentioned, the first couple of games, people weren't totally sure what was going to happen with this team, and here we are.
Yeah, I think that really started off in the off-season workouts and then fall camp. Just realizing that, I think it was one day at the facility right after practice, I was just sitting there realizing, we had, such a great practice. And I was sitting there wow, we got, such a physical team. We got guys that, can fire on all levels, right? Offensively, defensively. And then we have a lot of guys that can play, great snaps for us on special teams as well. And, I think really just in that off-season workout, just seeing all the guys that are out there on the field, it was kind of surreal to see how much firepower we had when we had brought in transfers like Dillon, guys like Evan, and then Tez and T. Ferg were coming back, and then Jordan James on the offensive side of the ball, but then also bringing in Derek Harmon, Jamari Caldwell, having Jordan Burch and Matayo on the edge that was developing at a great level, me and Bryce in my room, and then guys in the back end, Taisheem, Cody, and then bringing in Jabbar. It's wow, we really got 11-headed demons on both sides of the ball, right? So I think it's kind of surreal, right? And then to look at where we're at right now, I think that's one of the things that's wow, we're really doing it right now, right? So it's a kind of sigh of relief, and just knowing that it's all coming together, right? So
it's been amazing to watch. You referenced the 11 sides on both sides of the ball. I think every one of them is like a self-starter. You all have growth mindset. But then you add in Dan Lanning and the juice that he has. Take us inside pregame, a locker room, a messaging as it crescendos in advance of a big game like the one you have in a matter of days.
Yeah, right now I'll tell you about pregame. You never know what he's going to bring out pregame. Right before we run out there as a team. He's a very good rhymer. I will tell you that right now. Very good rhymer. He always has something that's, slick relating to the game or slick that's relating to practice that, we might not have thought would have been big in practice or in a meeting, but then he always brings it up and it's like, ooh, that was a good one, right? So, yeah, a guy that, we all relate to on a personal level, a guy that we all have great relationships with him. And just a guy that we appreciate a lot because I think that he knows and he understands us and he knows us fully on a personal level to the point where, he knows the exact right things to say, right? So.
He's a rhymer. I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get him back up on the set and see if you can drop a few rhymes. Jeffrey Bassa, it's been a pleasure to watch you play. It's been a pleasure to get to know you. We'll be looking forward to seeing you on the field on New Year's Day. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the rest of Media Day, and thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Kylan, thank you. The Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year joining us here on Media Day. And Dillon, Gabriel, it's been phenomenal to watch what this team has been able to do. Congratulations on all the success so far.
Thank you.
I know you're not done yet, and I know you're not ready to sit back and reflect on what you've been able to do. But I'd ask you to pause real quick and think back to your decision to come to Oregon. What has that meant to you?
It's meant a bunch, and I think having a guy like Coach Lanning, and the conversation you have early in the year, or even last year, and it all coming into fruition. And that's not just the success, but that's just in the day-to-day and the conversations we have. You appreciate that relationship, and it's crazy that I only have 1 year here, but I wish I had a bunch more, and it's because of the people, the fan base, the support that we have, and definitely the most genuine energy I've ever been around, and the people that stop you in the community and give you, positive words and great energy. You appreciate that, as I've gotten older and have been in this thing for a minute now.
You've been in it for a minute. This will be your 63rd start in the Rose Bowl, in the Granddaddy, one of the biggest games in recent history in college football. Feels like a national title. How do you make sure it feels like the 62 previous starts versus different than the previous ones you've had in your career?
Yeah, not changing who I am, and I've never done that for anyone or any circumstance or situation, and that's how I've been who I've been, and I appreciate that from my guys, is just being who we are and knowing that the football that we play is dictated by our preparation and our execution, and it is a game of doing, so you got to go out there and make it happen. But we're excited for it. I'm excited for it. These are moments, throughout my journey, has prepared me to be in this moment right here. So definitely excited and can't wait to get this thing going.
We were talking with your offensive coordinator, Will Stein, about just how you are kind of at your best when the lights are the brightest. He talks about all the different ways that you've evolved, including working out of a huddle much better, that your cadence and command of the huddle has evolved this year. I know how important it is for you two to be on the same page. What has it been like to collaborate and work with him and learn from him this season?
Yeah, I think the conversation has been pure, and the ability to go into a game and know that you're comfortable with everything that's going to be called, and kind of working together and going to the barbershop, as we say, and cutting things that we don't need, or adding to it to make our haircut that much better. So I think just having that conversation daily, and that trust with somebody that when that down comes or that situation comes, exactly what's going to be called, and that's special. It's not normal, and I'm appreciative of that relationship on and off the field.
I love it. You go to the doctors right on Monday. You go to the barbershop midweek and game planning. It's beautiful. We're stealing all those for us here on set as well. I'm curious for you in this game against this opponent. You played him once already. What is it like in the barbershop of sorts, preparing for an opponent for the second time?
Yeah, I think there's pros and cons to the situation that we're both in, but for the most part, I think it's just the day and age, and in the NFL, you do that, with teams that play each other multiple times, or even in college football now, you could really play a team 3 times, but you appreciate it all, and you try to look at how you can be better, and you kind of have like a baseline to look at, but now there's a way where, you got to be a little more creative. And that's the beauty of it, too. It's a new environment, a new situation, 2 new teams that have evolved. So although some will be same, a lot will be different.
I haven't told Yogi this, but my favorite episode of his Y Option podcast this season, and this is no offense to you because you were a terrific guest, was your mother, Dory, who we just had on recently. It was a phenomenal listen. I know this is the first year she's going to be away from Hawaii. You got 40 deep rolling in, friends and family coming to this game. She said something, though, that really stuck with me about the importance of being grateful for the blessings and the challenges. And she mentioned something that happened to you at UCF when you broke your collarbone and missed that season and how devastating that was. And yet, here you are, you're here because of that happening and because you got an extra year of eligibility. So walk us through, when you look back at your journey and being grateful for the blessings and the challenges, and just, do they make them any better than Dory Gabriel?
Gosh, we butt heads, and it's in a loving way, because we're so similar. But, I think she's always been a reminder, as my dad is a very football heavy guy in our relationship, we somehow always talk about ball, but having my mom where she reminds us, the life aspect of it all, and how blessed we are in many ways. And I think that's just allowed me a new perspective of when there was challenges early, not making it the end of the world, and knowing that there's blessings that come from that. And the way you take it, the way you respond, although it's not easy to say that in the moment, you look back and you're like, wow, all those moments that could have been negative for a lot of people have been a huge positive for me. So I think that's helped me in my life, and whatever may transpire and adversity that I may come across is how do you respond the right way, and how do you keep swinging? Because, at the end of the day, that's all you got. And having a mom like her that loves me for who I am and wants to support me on this journey, right or wrong, I bring them along with this journey and roller coaster, so I hope they've been enjoying it just as much.
I think they have. She is a communication major. She was in college, so no surprise you're an incredible communicator as well. Take us inside your huddle now, if you will, because your season has been full of unique moments, right? Whether it was on the road at Wisconsin and it's a 4th down, whether it was 4th down against Ohio State the first time that you played them. How do you communicate to the guys? Because it feels as though your team plays free offensively when the game needs its best to be offered.
Repetition, and being in that moment, it starts at practice. And how can you create that environment? It's really the way we do practice, but also what I say in that huddle in practice. So when I say it in the game, it's nothing new, and the confidence is there. And I know that I get that look from those guys, and when I'm locked in and I give them the look that we need to go get it, they're confident in me and they're confident in, us as a unit to go make it happen. But we've done it. We've done it in game, and we've had those opportunities. So the confidence is there, but the confidence is in the preparation. Very cliche to say, but how you prepare on a day-to-day basis, those hours, those minutes, it comes down to the details and how good can you be in the details so that when you're in that loud environment, when you really got to have it, you can rely on that.
Dillon, it's been a joy to watch you this season. I know it's amazing that you've only been a Duck for a year because it feels like this was always home. And that is telling us that we do have to let you go.
Right on the mark.
Officially
Let's
right
go.
on the mark, yes. Dillon, Gabriel, thank you so much. Best of luck on New Year's Day. We'll be watching.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Like I said, just sticking to your rules. When the ball in the air, go get it, and beating that same guy one-on-one. So, yeah.
Is there any additional confidence going into this game, knowing how well you guys did against them the first time?
Confidence comes from your preparation. So every Tuesday we played this game already. So when we go out there on January 1st, we just got to rehearse it for the fans. This game has been played 1 million times already. So when we get out there, now let's go showcase it for the fans. Let's give them something to cheer about.
You guys have talked a lot about culture and connection. Every week it seems like it's strengthening for you guys. How is that manifesting right now on this type of stage? This type of game?
We just know the connection piece about this team. Nobody can come in between us as far as connection-wise. Whether that's a receiver hanging out with a D-line, and you don't normally see receivers hanging out with D-line or a cornerback hanging out with an O-line. You don't really see stuff like that. That tells you how connected we are as a team. We trust each other. We're willing to go out on that field with each other and die, literally. So that's how we carry ourselves in going into every game. So, yeah.
You guys were preparing for Ohio State the first time around, looking at their corners. What was the scout report on those guys?
All of them was all league guys. Denzel Burch, probably the smartest corner I've ever seen in college football, other than Kool-Aid McKinstry, because I played him in high school. His IQ for football, knowing the game of football, you know he's a smart guy. You know how he's going to play his techniques. Caleb Downs, you see the guy that can get in the box like a Mike linebacker and go run the alley and make a play. Then you got Jordan Hancock that's really good in coverage in the slot that you got to get to your spot and beat him. He's a really good guy. I'm looking forward to that matchup all night. So then you have number one, the corner over there. He's a really good corner, rangy corner, come from the SEC. But we know his weaknesses, so we definitely going to be on high alert for that Wednesday.
You said he's the second smartest quarterback you've ever gone up against. How does that show up? How did that show up in that first game?
Like he was everywhere where he's supposed to be. If you think you're open, you're really not. Like he's one of those corners. He's sneakily he'll get an interception on you quick if you're not careful. So it's things like that that you don't come across as a corner. So yeah.
Do you have any memories, specific memories of the Rose Bowl game growing up?
DeAnthony Thomas, Wisconsin. I think it inside zone straight to the house.
Yeah.
That's the one I remember. I've never seen somebody run so fast in my life as a kid. When I seen that, I was like, whoa. And then he had the chrome helmet on. Shorty was moving. I like that, yeah.
Is there any extra motivation? Like, you guys are undefeated, #1 team, already beat this team, but still, like, you guys are viewed as underdogs?
It doesn't matter. Like I said, nobody believed in us in the first place. Why believe them now? So, I mean, we don't care. Underdogs, #1, it doesn't matter. We go 1-0 each week. So, yeah.
Tess, when you first heard that Dillon was coming to Oregon, what were your first impressions of getting a new quarterback?
I knew Dillon when he was at UCF, and I watched him a little bit because one of my coaches from Troy went to UCF, which is Chip Lindsey and Coach Blackman. So I kind of followed him up a little bit. And did some little research. And when I seen him coming to Oregon, I knew right then and there I need to get with him and get on that field. He got some stuff to him that nobody had seen before. When he's at Oklahoma playing against Texas in big games, like that guy can pull it off. Like you don't see too many quarterbacks in big games pull it off like that, unless you Bo Nix or Patrick Mahomes or something like that. So I mean, like him coming here has been nothing but the best for him, his family, his fiance that he just got engaged to. Dillon is a quarterback you want on your team. His willingness to get better and be the best. He's the best quarterback in the entire nation. Like, I don't know if anybody else agree, but this team knows. Like, he's the best quarterback that's in this playoffs. Period. That's a Heisman quarterback right there, and I don't see no other quarterback out here doing the things that he do. I mean, he's 5'2", soaking wet. Boy can throw a ball like a missile. Like, I mean, we love that guy. Like, his energy to coming in the locker room every day, a smile on his face, being goofy. Like, he the oldest guy on the team, but everyone treats me and him like the youngest. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, I'm the little brother, he's the little brother, because I think it's because I height. Because everybody be like, hey, little bro, I'm older than you. I'm 22 and you 19. You just 6'6", I'm 5'10". Like, okay. But I love Dillon, love him to death. Can't wait to get out there on Wednesday to play alongside of him. As soon as he do his little circle prayer, send one up, I know he locked in. So let's do it.
And how are you guys able to build a connection so quickly?
Me and Dillon, we was on the field throwing, and the stuff we've been through on that field, how frustrated we was on the off season. Like, cause I demand excellence from him. You can tell he was demanding it from me. And us demanding it for each other created something. It's like, okay, like this guy got something. And I think he knew like how willingness I was to get better as a receiver, and how I knew exactly what ball he can throw. And he was hesitant sometimes in the offseason. And I'm like, if you just throw it, trust me, we're gonna make a play. And now I think he just took that and ran with it. Like, you can build confidence with a person that that you don't really, that other people they don't think that he can get it done. And when you build that confidence with a person, it's everything from him. Like, be a sponge with that guy. Be connected as much as you can with Dillon. So, I mean, that's how I wanted to take it. And he was left-handed too, so I wanted to be able to catch a ball at least. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hey, who's like the next, a guy that we don't get to see, like a young dude behind the scenes? When you're long gone, when Trayshawn long gone, when whoever's long, who's the next guy that we're going to be talking about? Who's going to be the next dudes?
Justice Lowe.
Yeah. J-Mac, everybody says J-Mac.
J-Mac.
Yeah.
You got Jack Wrestler in there. You got a freshman that's coming in, Decorian Moore. That's going to be really, really good for the Oregon Ducks. Sneakily, Jack Wrestler going to come in there, going to be your guy that's going to have some grit to him.
Who was the first guy you said, Lowe?
Justice Lowe.
Yeah. Why did you say him first? Why did he come to mind first?
He's the smartest guy I've ever been around.
How
besides
so?
my little brother, Caleb. He know every play.
Okay.
Guy's a 4.0 student.
Okay.
Fast as can be. He's shifty. He'll get you right off the line and run right past you.
Okay.
Justice is, I mean, you can't say nothing else about Justice. Justice should win an award of how connected he is in the receiver room. Like, I learned from Justice so much this year. Some routes out there I give credit to Justice. Like, it's some releases I could go out there and I couldn't do if I didn't watch Justice. And I take that as, I give Justice all the praise for some of the releases I do. You can learn from him in so many ways just by the way you carry yourself in the locker room.
What about Dante Moore? What are you seeing out of him?
Dante Moore?
Yeah.
He'll be a Heisman finalist next year.
Really?
100%.
Next year?
Next year.
Why?
It's something you ain't seen yet. That boy can throw a ball like no other. I've never seen nothing like it. Like, he's so ready.
Really?
He's so ready to play. And you can just tell. Like, we can put the twos in at practice, and they go out there and look just like the ones.
Really?
So I mean, you don't have a fall off. The standard, the standard that the first group has for the entire team, it's a waterfall cycle. It goes from the ones to twos to threes. Like, it's a waterfall cycle. Like, you don't see a single fall off, because you see the freshman that comes in, and you see some talent that you ain't never seen before. You like, whoa. There's some guys that they went and got out of their portal is crazy, and you don't even know where these people come from. They just popping up. Like, it's some freshmen that already came in. And you like, whoa, who you? Like, girl, you 6'7". Like, where you come from? Like, how do you where do you come from? So it's, yeah.
You look at a guy like Dante. He was such a hyped recruit, and a lot of those guys come in, and you're like, yeah, he's big head or cocky, but everybody says he's pretty, like, he's a dude, like, kind of like Dillon, gets along with everybody. What have you seen leadership-wise?
He's a dude. Like you said, he's a dude. Dillon and Dante, they work together every day. They hang out every day. Like, they want to get better every day. Dante asks questions like he's the starter in meeting rooms. Like, if he don't understand something, he can get up there, ask a question, and be like, hey, how did this work? They explain it to him, all right, back, boom. He can get up and teach it to the entire film room. And we sit back listening to him like he's the starter, like he's going out there and prepared to throw the ball to Trayshawn Holden or Justice Lowe or something. So, I mean, when you got a guy like that as your backup, ain't no need to get nervous if something happens. God forbid, but.
What was the craziest thing you seen him do in practice or scrimmage or something?
A no-look 60-yard bomb.
When was that?
Recently.
Yeah.
Recently, which is crazy. And he turned around like a fadeaway like he's Steph Curry. Like he's one of those guys. Like he can find a window and throw it in between the O-lineman head and hit a dig route. You don't see stuff like that. Like, that dude is good. Like, you can go ask anybody about Dante Moore and how he throws a football and watch what they say. Yeah. The guy's talented.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Tez, how would you describe the way Coach Stein identifies matchups and puts you and the receivers in positions to make plays?
He explained them very well. Coach Stein, he's a quarterback guy. He dials up the plays. We run the routes. He knows exactly the leverage. He always talk about all the time, like how he beat Teddy Bridgewater out. He played over Teddy Bridgewater, so he knows exactly where the ball should go. So we take his plays that he draws up is crazy. Like, he's a guru when it comes to offenses. Like, he knows exactly what ball is going to be open. Like, hey, Tez, be right here in this spot, and that ball will hit you right here on the hash. Yes, sir, take that in consideration and hit me right there on the hash. We're going for 60. So it's like things like that you don't take for granted as a coach.
to now, what do you think is the biggest difference in them?
They playing with a little bit of chip on their shoulder right now. And we see that. They're a really good team. They're a hot motor team. They got really good coaches behind them. So, I mean, we playing with a chip too. They're not the only ones.
So, speaking of that chip, some of the players have said they still think.
Kylan, thank you so much. Here with the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, Ryan Day, back at the Rose Bowl, a place that has treated you well. And I just got to ask you, it feels like what we saw against Tennessee was the version of this team that everybody knows exists. When you think about all the guys that came back to have a moment to compete in the CFP and play on this stage, just give me a sense for where you think your team is at right now and what this stage means to you, Ryan.
Well, the focus has been all along to make sure that we're sustaining, but then also growing and learning as the season's gone on. And so our focus this week has been no different than any other week all year. And I feel like every week you have to upgrade, you have to learn, you have to grow. And so our team has really just been focused on doing their job and executing. And this late in the season, I know everybody wants to talk about other things, but like at the end of the day, that's what matters. And so I think our guys are focused. I think they know what they want to get done here. It's not a bowl game. It's a playoff game. And so it's a different format. So we've had a good week of preparation, got in here yesterday, and looking forward to a good practice today.
I can remember being at practice in August. Feels like it was years ago. But seeing the competitive depth of your team, and it seems like it's really shown. It's been tested, right, in the offensive line throughout this season, and showed up again against Tennessee. What is like the ethos, the core of this, the middle part of this roster done to the totality of this team?
Well, I think we all know how important depth is, and certain positions have been challenged in that area, and we knew that when we put everything together. But a lot of guys have had to step up in big areas, but I think it's also allowed us to be playing fast, in December now. So I feel like we have a healthy team, we have a fast team, and you just never know who needs to step up in a game like this. But I think our depth is one of our strengths.
The uniqueness of playing a team twice in a season, it will become more commonplace as we move forward with this format. But what is it? Because I think you could look at it both ways. I'm sure there's advantages and disadvantages. How do you look at it?
Well, it's similar to the NFL in the playoffs. When you're in a conference, division, you play a team twice, and then you could play them again in the playoffs. So it's similar that way. But I look at it like this. We're a different team. They're a different team than we played last time. You learn from the game. You use it as a reference point. But, you're just in a different place for a lot of different reasons. And so, I feel like two great teams coming together. Both have, really talented players, and it's going to come down to who executes better on the field.
I think it's so unique in this game. Both quarterbacks have been at their respective school for right around a year or so.
Yeah.
For Will Howard, he's been through so many first experiences being the quarterback at Ohio State. How do you talk to him in advance of a game like this as the stage gets brighter, but I'd imagine you hope he stays the same steady player that he's been?
Well, the first thing you got to do is you got to lead. You can't have expectations coming into a game like this. Will's played in big games before he got here. He's now played in big games here at Ohio State. So he knows what it's going to take. He's got to lean on his teammates. He's got a good group around him. He's got to get our offense into a rhythm, and find the speed of the game early on, have poise, and then play his best down the stretch.
It felt like he was able to do that, and you guys did that really well as an offense against Tennessee. What did you see in that game that you specifically that you really liked about how the way this team just came out and set the tone from the beginning?
Yeah, I thought that we started fast, and I thought we played physical, we played with an edge, but at the end of the day, we executed well. And we went through on Sunday, went through the film and recognized things on defense, special teams, and on offense where the meetings, the walkthroughs, the practices carried over to on the field. And I think understanding situational football will be critically important in this game. And understanding time, score, and situation is something that, we've talked a lot about this week. And we need to be aware. They do a great job with that on Oregon, in my opinion. And so we have to be aware. They've done and been creative about formations. They've, had fake punts. They've had fake field goal opportunities here and there, where they run the muddle huddle. So we have to be on high alert for all those things. And so, again, we've worked hard on that and make sure we're situationally aware.
You've referenced the NFL a couple times. Jeremiah Smith, one day will be there. But in the NFL, sometimes rookies hit a wall. College, he's never had a season this long ever in the history of the game. What have you noticed about how he seemingly just continues to get stronger as his first year continues on?
Yeah, it says a lot about who he is as a person. I think that's, of all the things about Jeremiah that I've noticed, is his maturity. physical maturity, mental maturity, then also emotional and spiritual maturity. And that's, to your point, late in the season when you see somebody, this young. When you look at him, he doesn't look very young, but he is still young. But he has a lot of maturity, and I think that's when you get up on him, you realize how big and strong he is. But then when you watch him at practice, you realize how he works really hard, one of the hardest working guys. But then being able to sustain that late in the season is important. But it's something that we've talked to our whole team about, is that we wanted to be strong and sustained throughout the season, not just look at it, on a week-to-week basis and say, well, it's a marathon. It's not a marathon. It's a series of sprints all the way to the end. And so here we are, in the Rose Bowl, exactly where we thought we would be. A different road to get there, twists and turns along the way, but we're here. And ultimately, we believe that we're in control of where we are.
The journey has led you right where you wanted to be. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're getting set to go on the podium. We could sit here and ask you questions all day long, but we appreciate everything this season and look forward to seeing you on New Year's Day, Coach.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kyle. And yes, here with the starting quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes, Will Howard. And you've talked about dreaming about playing in this game. You watched this game as a kid, and now you are finally here. I know this is a business trip. I know this is a second shot at a team that you're excited to get a rematch with. But just looking around and being here on the stage and arriving to L.A., what's it been like?
It's awesome, and it's surreal. A younger me would be in awe right now, and that's what I keep trying to remember, why I play this game. The younger kid in me that just loved the game and loved the spectacle of all this. I grew up watching the Big Ten, watching the Rose Bowl every single year, and to be a part of this game and to have the opportunity to play in it is just a blessing for me. And I'm trying to take it all in while also staying locked in and we know we're here for one reason. And it's a business trip, but, trying to enjoy it as much as we can at the same time.
I love that you referenced being a kid, because I think there's a childlike fascination when you watch kids play. You remember yourself playing back in the streets of Pennsylvania, man.
Oh, yeah.
So, to that point, here we are on this business trip. You got a huge stage. You play for a huge school. It feels as though, at least from our lens, the last time you played, it felt like there was a bunch of young kids having just a blast on the field. Is that a fair evaluation of what we saw last time out? And if so, why was that, and how do you carry that into this game?
100%, man. And I think it's, when you play with confidence and when you have a game plan and you have, guys that you just believe in and you just cut it loose, I think that's what you saw in that last game. And when we're able to just go out there and not worry about anything and just do our thing and have fun. I remember Maurice Claret came up to me before the game and he just said, just have fun, man. And I said, yeah, we got to do this, we got to do that. He said, just have fun. Just have fun. And we went out there and had fun. And, I think it's important to remember that sometimes. You get so caught up in the day-to-day grind of this thing, you forget to have fun. And, you forget why you began playing the game in the first place.
What's fun is having all of the weapons that you have around you. I mean, it's like this sounds like a naive question, but just what is it like to have this, group of young people around you that can – a lot of mistake erasers, as you call Jeremiah Smith out there.
Yeah. It's an embarrassment of riches for me. I say all the time. I'm blessed to be here and to have all the weapons that I have. But talking about those guys, man, like they're just good people. And not only are they amazing football players, but people you want to be around and that I'm going to be friends with for the rest of my life. Guys like Emeka, guys like Quinshawn, guys like Trey and Jeremiah, and all these guys. Offense, defense, no matter what it is. I mean, we got all the talent in the world, and we just got to go out there and do this thing.
You referenced last time you were in, maybe the only time you were in Eugene, Oregon. You said we're going to see these guys again. You referenced it again after you beat Tennessee. Looking forward to seeing this team again. Take us inside practice. Take us inside your preparation in advance of an opponent for the second time, which may become commonplace one day in college football, but it's pretty unique right now.
Yeah, it's we're talking about it. It's more like the NFL playoffs now. It's more of that kind of style, and we're trying to adapt to that and treat this thing like pros, man. And in the NFL, you're going to play teams twice, and you have to learn how to do that. And I've done it in my career and playing a team twice in the same season. And it's a challenge, but it's fun, and it really brings out the chess game in the football. And that's, I'm a football nerd. I'm a geek. I love the game inside the game. And, I think that's even more heightened, when you play a team twice, and especially, of the caliber that we're, the team of the caliber we're playing. And, especially the last matchup we had, it's hyped up. We're all excited to be here, but, I'm just so proud of this team of getting to this stage and making it here and we're just going to go out there and put our best foot forward tomorrow.
And to what Yogi, whenever it is, time, and Yogi referenced just kind of what you said after you last played them in October, that you were going to see these guys again. I remember you telling Jenny Taft, like, this is going to be the game that we look back on that propelled us to the national championship. The biggest goal that you guys had at the start of the season is right in front of you. The mindset to have an edge and yet still play loose and joyful, like Yogi talked about in the first round game. How do you walk that line? Because I think as the quarterback, sort of people take on however, whatever you guys put out there.
No, 100%. It's a balancing act, right? And it's a hard line to walk. Having that edge of, I'm pissed off and I want to see these guys again, and I still remember how the last game ended, but also balancing that with being poised and being that neutral guy that everyone can look to in the good times or the bad times. I think is something as a quarterback and as a leader on this team, that I'm having to work with this week, because obviously the emotions of that last game come back a little bit, but at the end of the day, man, like, we get another crack at this thing, and God blessed us with another opportunity, and I trust in God's plan, and I said last time that I hope that loss was the reason that we got here, and I think it's a big reason that we had some of the success in the second half of the season that we did, and we just I'm just happy for our guys, man. I'm happy to be here and can't wait for this opportunity.
I got to ask one little quick one, because you referenced being a football nerd. Chip Kelly might be like the poster of that. What's it been like being around him, and now you're coming back to the place where he coached a lot of games on the floor of the field you're about to walk onto?
Oh yeah, it's fun, man. He's changed my game a ton. Between him and Coach Day and Billy Fessler and all these guys that I've gotten to be able to be coached by and just sit in a room with, and game plan and hear why they're doing what they're doing. And Coach Kelly's got some crazy ideas in his head, man. I'm telling you, this guy's a wizard, and it's fun to work with him every single day. And I'm just blessed to have gotten the opportunity to play for Ohio State and play for him, play for Coach Day, and it's done a wonder for me in terms of my game and my development this year. And I think having him here has been great for our offense and for this team.
He's talked a lot about all the ways that you have evolved, but maybe the thing that stands out to me most is he said maybe the most underrated quality for a quarterback is your toughness. Looking forward to seeing you on New Year's Day taking on these Oregon Ducks. Best of luck.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Go Bucks.
I wouldn't really say that they're the same team that we played before, because you look at week 6, how long ago that was. If you're a team that's not getting better, not developing all the way throughout every single week, and you're not a different team by the time you face them again, then I think you're shorting yourself. I think that we're not the same team that they played, and I don't expect them to be the same team either. So it's a nameless, faceless opponent, and we're just ready to step on that field and do whatever it takes.
How have you guys grown from that first match?
I think our mindset has grown a lot. I think that we've grown in our accountability and holding each other accountable, and just executing our scheme better, being coached better, taking practice reps more serious. I think that overall everything was trending in the right direction after that loss.
And do you feel like, obviously you guys are off to a hot start in the last game, being able to score like right off the bat like that, what did that do for you guys?
Yeah, scoring the first drive of the game is definitely a big momentum boost that you can get in football. But football games can go a plethora of different ways. Coach Day always says to us when we come in for halftime, you can either be winning, losing, or the game could be tied. So you just have to know how to battle back from every scenario, because not every game goes exactly to script like you would like to.
Emeka, you the other day you said you grew up in the Oregon fan. What did you admire about them?
I think that this was from when I was in elementary school to middle school. Obviously they have great jerseys, but I think the main thing was that the best player to ever come through my high school committed to Oregon, and I was a big fan of his at the time. I always went to the high school games when I was in middle school, just watching him play and watching him do his thing out there. And when he committed to Oregon, I watched very closely to everything they did. So I was a big fan of them at the time, especially being from the Pacific Northwest. But it was mostly credited to Fotu Liato.
And you mentioned that you were relatively close to Fotu at the time?
Yeah, he was, I'm not sure exactly how much older he was than me. I think when I was in like 6th or 7th grade, he was a senior or something like that. And my quarterback all through growing up who's the same age as me. His older sister was dating him, so whenever I went over to his house to hang out and stuff like that, Fotu would be there. And, you know, he knew who I was a little bit because I was doing my thing in, you know, Pop Warner youth football and all that type of stuff. So I think he saw something in me and was able to, you know, give me a little bit of experience and advice when it came to football.
What did you admire about him as a player and also as a person?
Yeah, I think if you pull up, it's actually a fun fact, he has the most viewed huddle highlight of all time. So if you go to his huddle and you just see how relentless of a player he was, just, you know, what you think of when you hear the word football, like he's out there just decapitating people, hitting people as hard as he can. So he played very, very hard, and that's something I really admired about him.
Thank you, Kylan. Here with offensive coordinator Chip Kelly, back in LA, a place you know well. It's good to see you, Chip. And I think about all the different times we've had an opportunity to talk with you over the years, and yet here you are, first year as offensive coordinator at Ohio State. There's so many things that we can ask you about, but can I just start with, like, how good is it to be back in LA? The sun didn't quite come out for you.
No, we got the marine layer, which we're used to, so I know it'll burn off around 11 or 12, and checking the weather. I think it's supposed to be 70 on game day in Pasadena, so we're excited about that. And I really haven't been back since I left, so it's a good opportunity to get back. And I don't know if I'll actually get back to my house because our schedule's pretty tight, but my wife's excited about getting back home and checking out the digs.
Yeah, as she should. Yeah, SoCal, here we go. I'm curious for you, though. You love living in the moment.
Yeah.
You've lived in a lot of moments on the floor of this stadium as a head coach at Oregon or at UCLA. What is it like, and how have you talked to the team a little bit? Because there's a lot of new faces on this team, too, or players that have never played in this environment. Is there anything that you have shared around the Rose Bowl?
Honestly, we haven't even talked about it. Wow. You know, I think as we get closer to the game, our meetings right now have just been game plan scheme specific. I think when we get some time now, today is a Thursday in our world. Tomorrow will be Friday, and then game day is Saturday, which is Wednesday for us. So as the game gets a little bit closer, we'll talk about the environment we're going to play in, but we really haven't had a chance to share any part of that with them.
We just had a chance to talk to Will Howard, and he's just, as you know, a really impressive young man here, you know, on the field and also with a microphone in his hands. Where have you seen him grow? I know you've talked about his toughness, you've talked about his footwork, but what have you seen since he came into the program to where he is now?
I just think he's so much more comfortable in the environment and what he is. I mean, you talk about you go somewhere, you're a starting quarterback for 2 or 3 years at K-State in the middle of the Big 12 and had a great relationship. His brother is actually a guard on the K-State team. Like, he loved K-State, but it was a unique situation for him. They had a really good quarterback in Avery Johnson. So now, what are they going to do? So Will puts himself in the portal. Now he's got to try to fit in a whole new locker room, but he's not a freshman trying to fit in. He's a fifth-year senior trying to fit in, and I think he let it happen organically, and I think our players really gravitated to him just first and foremost because of his work ethic. And I think he really has assumed a leadership role on the offensive side of the ball, especially with us losing 2 offensive linemen during the course of the season. But I think the players have really gravitated to him because it's happened naturally. So I just see his comfort level. Like, he's really, really comfortable being the quarterback at The Ohio State. And I think that's the biggest thing for him. And he's playing that way right now. He's playing with a confidence and he's playing with a poise out there that you're going to need in games like this.
You gave us a quote a couple years ago where you said, praise and blame are all the same.
Yep.
For this team, it has been one where it's been epic highs, it's been challenging lows. How have you seen them navigate amid some new faces on the offensive line, tight end, 2 backs that you want to feed the rock to? I'm just kind of curious around that, because it seems like it is a new experience, I'd imagine, for you in that regard, your coaching journey.
It is, but I think it goes back to that fundamental, is that it doesn't matter if they're telling you you're really good or telling you you're really bad. You really can't pay attention to it because that doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day. It's about the process, and if you fall in love with the process and continue to say, am I going to get a little bit better today than I was yesterday, then you're going to have an opportunity to be successful. And life is a continuum. There's not a destination for anybody. So I think as they learn that lesson, as we keep moving here, all of a sudden, you know, we told them they'll pick your head up in January and we'll still be playing. They were like, all right, we're going to pick our head up. It's going to be January 1st. We're still playing a football game. The one thing this group needs, because they're so close, is we need to play more than one more football game. And to do that, we have to win on Wednesday.
I think about all the different teams that you've coached, so many great talents over the years and a lot of different levels. and the embarrassment of riches, as Will Howard calls it, that you have in this offense to tinker with and play with. Is it almost hard sometimes when you look at it, like there's so many guys and so many options and things you can do? Like how do you look at how to make sure that you're getting everybody?
It's not hard because they're not selfish, and I think the credit goes to those guys. So Mech will take as much pride as making a block for TreVeyon for a touchdown as he will in catching a touchdown. And JJ's the same way, and I think Mech has really rubbed off on that wide receiver room. So Carnell Tate is, some people say he's an underappreciated. He's not underappreciated to us. We think Carnell Tate's a 1. I think JJ's a 1. I think Emeka's a 1. I think we have 2 1s at running back. So I think the way they've all approached it, TreVeyon's one of the most giving people I've ever been around in my entire life. And so he takes as much pride in pass pro pickup as he does in scoring the touchdown himself. So I think credit goes to the players that it can be difficult. He's like, well, how do we get this guy involved? Well, sometimes the defense is doing a good job taking that guy away. So, all right, get the ball to the other guys. As long as we're winning and being productive offensively, these guys are happy.
We talked to Coach Day about it. You spent much time in the NFL as well, playing a team twice.
Yeah.
That's kind of a common theme, at least around this matchup of, hey, you have to do it at that level. You got a bunch of NFL players. They got a bunch of NFL players. How have you navigated the prep in that regard of seeing a team for the second time around this season?
Yeah, we played them as game 6. So they had 5 under their belt. We had 5 under our belt. We based our game plan off of that. But now they've played a ton of games since that last game. So we have more tape. So it's a 13-game breakdown because they played the Big Ten championship game also. So they've developed. They're not the same team that they were when we played them in that first week in October. But we're not the same team we were in that first week of October. So I think you take all that information together, try to put together a game plan, and then know that on game day, you're going to have to adjust because, hey, we thought they would make this adjustment. They didn't. Or we didn't anticipate they were going to make this adjustment, and they did. And then we have to make an adjustment off of that.
Very last thing, and we'll let you go, Chip, because we could sit here and talk to you all day long. But the offensive line, you mentioned some of the injuries and the reshuffling that you guys have had to do on that front. What have you seen with this group? And specifically in your most recent game against Tennessee, it was incredible to see how dynamic you guys were from the beginning. Where is this unit right now?
Yeah, they've really bonded together as a group. It's an extremely tight group, and they knew when we lost Jimmy at left tackle and Seth at center that it was going to took some growing pains. I think the first time we didn't have Jimmy was going to Penn State, and Donnie kicked out to tackle for the first time in his career, and Carson Hintzman checked in at guard. But we had Seth in the middle to kind of keep everybody clear. Then losing Seth, now Carson's got to kick into center. We got to bring in another guard. And then what is that like? And I think it took them 2 or 3 games to kind of get their feet underneath them. But I think they're all on the same page right now and excited to see what they can do on Wednesday.
We are excited to see this team on Wednesday. Happy New Year. Best of luck. I hope you are able to get by home for even a few minutes if you can make it.
I think maybe that's the plan, but there's one thing that's the most important thing, and we're going to make the most important thing the most important thing.
Keep the main thing the main thing. Chip Kelly, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, back to you guys in Chicago.
Chip Kelly with his eye on the prize. No time to stop at home. He's focused on the game. Now, running back TreVeyon Henderson has enjoyed a historic college career. He has the 3rd most scrimmage TDs in program history. Also, top 5 in Ohio State's career rushing yards list with more than 3,500. He's at the podium now in L.A.
It's amazing. It was an amazing experience last time. Playing against Utah, it was a really, really good game. A really close game as well. And I can just remember the moment after that, it's just full of joy, after that. So I'm looking forward, this team is looking forward to it again, playing in the Rose Bowl again, and it's definitely going to be a good time, definitely going to be a good game.
Just asking your teammate about the notion of it's hard to beat a team twice in the same season. When you guys are preparing for this game, obviously you're not just taking random tidbits into consideration, but why do you think you guys are going to be that much more of a challenge this time after such an awesome game the first time?
Really our coaches, man. I just think our coaches did a good job of just helping us, clean up the mistakes, the areas that need to be cleaned up, and just pushing us to stay focused, on what's ahead and not what's behind us. So I really appreciate the coaches for the way that they've pushed us, the way that they led us and encouraged us, you know, when times got hard, and just helping us stay focused, especially Coach Day. You know, he does a good job of that, you know, just helping us to stay forward and look ahead, you know. And you know, we definitely got a wonderful opportunity ahead of us, man, to play in the Rose Bowl and to go on to win a national championship. And so that's big, man.
A lot of prep is obviously self-scouting too. Where have you felt that you guys offensively have changed and grown since that first matchup?
We've grown a lot. You know, the biggest thing is just like, I feel like it's just the execution, you know, and you know, just continue to prepare as hard as we can. But the biggest thing is just executing, going out there and execute. That's going to be a huge part of this game. You know, we have to go out there and execute, and so we look forward to doing that.
When you're watching film, you can only pick up so much, but when you're actually on the field, dissecting everything in real time, you get more of those tendencies. Having played these guys already, what did you notice when you were out there that you could bring into this one? Things that don't necessarily show up just on game tape.
Yeah. Shoot, it's pretty much the same thing, to be honest. Like, I feel like with the defense, they do a good job of just like, you know, doing the same thing, but they're really good at what they do, though. That's the thing. They're really good at what they do. And so it's pretty much like I said, it pretty much just come down to execution, to be honest. You know, we played them once already, and I know, of course, they're a different team as well. You know, they may bring in new things. You know, Oregon, you know, yeah, they may bring in some new things, and so they're going to be better this time. You know, and so we just got to come and execute. You know.
Thanks very much.
JT Tuimoloau joining us here, one of the game wreckers for this Ohio State Buckeye defense, coming off a terrific game against Tennessee in the first round of the CFP. And here you are at the Rose Bowl. Welcome to Los Angeles. How's the day going so far for you?
It's going great. Very blessed to be here. Thank you guys for having me. Just very blessed to have this opportunity to talk with you guys, spend some time.
I mean, he's already my favorite interview. He's the first one that's thanked us for having him on. So you are so welcome. You are so welcome. I'm just curious for you, when you think about this season as a whole, and I know we'll talk about Oregon, we'll talk about your guys' path, but just you are where you wanted to be, right? A chance to go win a national championship. Your biggest goal is still in front of you. So how would you describe the journey to get here?
A lot of trials and tribulations. I'll start from the beginning. Started off hot, then went to Eugene and, you know, took a tough loss and, you know, learned a lot of lessons. And then, you know, came and lost to Team North. And, you know, it's not the season we wanted, but I think this team, we have built our foundation on trusting God and trusting in the Lord's plan. And we know He makes no mistakes. And after those losses, especially after the Team North loss, we realized, man, all of our goals are still there. We had you know, it's like we're standing with two ways. One way we can just derail and, you know, start spreading out and, you know, becoming not as a close team, or we can just stay trusting the plan and stay trusting the brotherhood and our foundation on the team. And I think we did that. Came out against Tennessee and had a tremendous game on both sides of the ball. And, you know, now it's the Rose Bowl, and we get a chance to play against a very good team and just have another time to wear the Ohio State jersey again.
Your school will always come with big-time expectations. Probably none more than this year, at least that we've seen thus far.
Yes.
You referenced going into the Tennessee game. What I saw, at least, was a team that looked like they were having the most fun they had all season. Like, you were just playing like you were kids again, growing up outside of Seattle.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way looking back on that experience?
Yes, that was, I mean, shout out to the best damn fans in the land for making that atmosphere just electric. You know, Coach Day was preaching just, you know, as a playoff game, the intensity's going to be high. And, you know, we felt that even coming out for warm-ups. And, you know, just be out there, we kind of just had to realize, like, man, my dad was always telling me, be where your feet's at. And our feet was, you know, we're in the first-round playoffs. You know, we still have a chance to go fight to win a national championship. And once we realized that, man, like you said, having fun, just kids enjoying the game of football again, you know.
You talked about that loss right before you guys went and had the game that Yogi just referenced, and that you guys just played so free and joyfully and hard-nosed. I just wonder, how long did it take to turn the page mentally? Like, at what point did you look around practice and say, okay, we've put that behind us?
Yeah, I'll be lying to tell you guys it didn't hurt us. It did. You know, it took some time. We actually, you know, held some player-led meetings and kind of just expressed everything. You know, we're a brotherhood. You know, families. It's good to have it's good to just have honest conversations, and I think we did just that, and it allowed us to look past and just understand that, like I've been saying, our goals are still ahead of us. And I think once we did that, we kind of felt like some weight off our shoulders were lifted off, and we can just go out and just enjoy this game and realize, like, man, G. Scott brought it up. We only have a month and a half together or something like that. And, you know, why not just enjoy this time and enjoy each other's presence and just continue to just go play for one another as hard as we can.
Well, speaking of joy, you and G. Scott, both guys from the Pacific Northwest, you're playing in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, and Emeka.
Yeah, and Emeka as well. Yeah, we got the trio.
We found out, by the way, not to interrupt, it was an Oregon fan.
Yeah, he was.
Which
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys knew that.
He was?
He was an Oregon fan.
I was.
Oh, you were too?
You were too. Okay, this is a safe space.
Yeah, I was too. I was too. I was
all right.
Big Coach Kelly fan, and to have him on the coaching staff, I had to tell him all. I was like, man, Coach, I watched everything. From these calls, I was devastated when we lost to Ohio State. I was driving. I remember I was driving to have a basketball practice, and just hearing the Ezekiel scored, I was like, all right.
Oh, I was just mad. The core memory. So what are your thoughts about being on this stage? It's a unique Rose Bowl. It's not ones like that we've seen in the past, you've been a part of in the past.
Yeah, I actually just learned, the Rose Bowl it's always a matchup between the Big Ten and Pac-12, and, you got a former Pac-12 team and, of course, a Big Ten team, so there's a lot of tradition behind it. And just the Rose Bowl, there's a lot of history behind it. I think my freshman year, just actually being in it and just watching a lot of teams go in and out, but actually being in the Rose Bowl and learning how much history is behind it, man, it's an honor to play in this bowl game. Just to be able to represent your team as well. It's going to be fun. It's in California. It's in the West Coast. So it's going to be an electrifying game, and I can't wait.
The game you guys had here a couple years ago was electrifying, an instant classic against Utah. Some good memories for Ohio State fans from that one. I got to ask you about your longtime roommate, 4 years with Jack Sawyer? Is that right?
four.
So it feels like you guys are just, you must be reading each other's minds at this point.
Yeah, we know each other very well. We've been roommates, fall camp, hotels for games. But yeah, that's my brother. It's not just my teammate, that's my family right there. And, just be able to share a room with him, or just have a safe space to create a bond that's everlasting. It's nothing but blessings.
Could you tell me real quick about what he brings to this defense and what you guys, when you think about getting to the quarterback, what's the key to it?
Jack, sorry, can you repeat that one?
Yeah,
Sorry.
just in terms of just the edge of this defense, of how you guys play so fiercely, and you and Jack together, it feels like there's something really special there. Just talk to me about the edge of how this defense.
Oh yeah, it's just the energy, just feeding off one another. I think once we set the tone, you just see it. It just echoes through the defense, and I feel like we should continue to do that. Continue to just play hard for one another, and just enjoy that. Just understand that we are here for a reason. And that we are put in this position for a reason, and just to make the most of it. But out there, it feels when you're just clicking, when you're just having fun, it feels like you're just there's not much that can stop you, but just to take it all in at the same time.
Yeah, well, we hope you can take it all in on Wednesday. Looking forward to seeing you play in this game. Former Oregon fan, now Ohio State Buckeye, true and true. Thank you so much, JT. Appreciate
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, Kylan, back to you guys in Chicago.
Thank you, Ashley. With the big game, you got to break out the big swag, right? Ohio State will rock the historic rose stripe down the middle of their helmets. They did so in their last Rose Bowl trip back in 2022 as well. Based on everything we've seen at Media Day, this team seems to be really enjoying the experience, enjoying the moment, while also focused on the task at hand in beating Oregon. Let's hear now from linebacker Cody Simon.
Yeah, I definitely, there's a lot of emotions, I would say, but I mean, there's something different about like playing the team you've already played, and just like they're familiar. You can look at what you did before, and maybe your coach yells at you for the same mistake you've already made, but being able to watch your film and watch how you played before, it's a big deal, I think, and you can learn a lot from it, and especially make the changes you think are necessary to succeed.
How do you think that your defense has developed since that game to where you guys are now?
Yeah, I think we've definitely matured. I mean, I think for that was a dark spot for us, and we had to make a lot of internal changes just around our maybe a little bit of scheme stuff, but also just our mentality around playing the game, and I think it's all worked for the better for us, and I think for right now we just have to continue to focus on execution and just doing our job, because when it comes down to the games, it really just comes down to doing your job and executing.
obviously when you're scouting an opponent, it's you pick up on little tendencies, but having seen on the field how these guys play, how Dillon plays, what did you notice when you were out there that you can bring into this game?
You know, I think one of the biggest things is knowing that they work very efficiently. And for us to be successful, I think we have to be able to throw them off their rhythm a little bit. We can't let them get into a place where they feel comfortable. And once we do that, I think we can start to dictate what we do on defense. And but it's without a doubt they're a good team. There's a reason they're playing this game with us. So for us, it's just going to be how we do our job and you know, really getting them off their rhythm.
There's just a traditional notion of it's hard to beat a team multiple times in the same season. Do you guys feel that?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that around a little bit, but I try not to get too wrapped up into that, because at the end of the day, it really is just about doing your job. Like, if we don't go out there and execute and stop the run and you know, limit big plays, I mean, then the game will end up how it ends up. And so for us, we're just trying to focus on making sure we handle all the things we can handle and not really worrying about anything else.
What is it about their quarterback that makes it a little bit more difficult to contain that offense?
No, he's a great player, and he can create out of really not much that's available. So for us, it's going to be big on how we contain him and how we can take options away from him, really. And I mean, we know he's a great player, and we're going to do what we can to limit that.
Right on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kylan, thank you so much. Here with Emeka, Ebuka, and we were just talking to your teammate JT Tuimoloau about the fact that he was also an Oregon Duck fan growing up. You were from the Pacific Northwest and grew up a Duck fan, also maybe a Husky fan because your grandpa went to Washington. Am I getting my story straight?
Yeah, that's true. That's exactly right. So my grandpa went to UW, so I was a big fan of them growing up. But also Oregon, just being from the Pacific Northwest, the best player to ever go to my high school, Uiagalelei, he committed to Oregon to be an Oregon Duck, and I think he was. I was maybe in middle school when he was like a senior, so I was able to watch him, you know, every Friday Night Lights, to see him put on a display at the high school that I would go to in the future, and just seeing him go to Oregon and doing all the big things that he did made me a fan of them instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one truth, I think, in college football was that it's going to never go like you anticipate it from freshman year to the last time you lace them up. I feel like that's been this season a little bit for your team, but you seem to be so steady. How have you been that voice for this team amid a season of things that came your way that maybe you couldn't anticipate?
Yeah, I just get everything that I have is from the Lord. So, you know, I try to, whether I'm feeling a bunch of different emotions, or I just lay it all at the feet of Jesus and I just let him deal with me internally. So I just try to be that same light for my teammates whenever I have an opportunity to. Now, it's not always easy, especially like you're saying, you know, you take a critical loss in week 6, you lose to our rivals, you know, a couple weeks back, and it kind of feels like, you know, a lot of stuff is going wrong, but you know, you got to take a step back and realize that you're living a life that you used to pray about. Especially when I was a kid, I would have dreamed to be on the stage where I'm at now. So just being and now, you know, coming full circle, being here at the Rose Bowl, you know, the granddaddy of them all, having a chance to be able to compete and play against a team that we already won against week 6. You know, we're just so blessed and grateful to be able to have this opportunity.
You know, I'm not going to follow up on that point. It's easy to have faith when things are going great. It's really important to have faith when things are going a lot harder. How has your faith carried you through some of those ups and downs as you sit here now on the stage that you just mentioned?
Yeah, I think the main thing is just, you know, there's a lot of things that people have to say about you. Whether it's positive or negative. You can, you know, scroll Twitter and Instagram all day and see everything that everyone has to say about you. But what really matters is what God says about you. So I think that a lot of us being here, it's hard not to hang your hat on football. It's what we do 24/7. Is what we're very proud of. But ultimately, that's not who we are. And I think that putting my identity in God has been something that's been helped me to be level-headed.
It was referenced in the broadcast against Tennessee. JT just said it here on this set about this players-only meeting, where it seemed as though you came out of it with a little bit less potentially on your shoulders. Is that accurate? And what have you noticed about this team and how you've competed with, seemingly from our eyes at least, with a different type of joy, maybe a childlike one that you had growing up outside Seattle?
Yeah, I think that you know, when it comes to families, which is what we are here at Ohio State, there's going to be conflict and there's going to be hard conversations, and that's definitely what we had. We were able to hold each other accountable, hold our coaches accountable, and I'm just so grateful to be able to be part of a program that can have those conversations and not resent each other afterwards, and we actually came out of it stronger. So I think, everybody was kind of able to see the fruits of that when it came to the Tennessee game. So we're just trying to, keep that same momentum moving. But nothing's guaranteed. We're going to have to put everything on the field this Wednesday.
Chip Kelly said something really interesting on the set just a few minutes ago. I was asking him, is it hard when you have so many different weapons and so many, top tier guys? Is it hard to figure out how everybody, and he cut me off and he said, it's not hard because when you have guys like Emeka Ebuka who has been able to, his selflessness has kind of permeated the entire locker room. It's easy because everybody is there. You care as much about, blocking as you do catching a touchdown. So where does that come from? Did you feel that early on this season? Has it been something that you've kind of seen grow throughout the last few years with this team, or how does it work in an era when there's not a lot of selflessness in college football?
Yeah, I appreciate Coach Kelly for giving me some of that credit, but honestly, just being able to share the field with some of these dudes and growing my relationship with all my teammates, I think it's hard, to be selfish in those moments. I think that whenever Carnell scores or JJ scores or Quinshawn or Trey or whatever the case may be, it's like I'm scoring. I'm so excited for them, and I think they all share the exact same mindset. So the only statistic that we care about is the scoreboard at the end of the day. So as long as we have more points than the other team, we don't really care how we got there.
I got to ask about the standard of playing wide receiver at Ohio State. You got a freshman phenom, Jeremiah Smith. You got a storied career there. Many prior to you have had storied careers there. Take us inside what it's like to be in that position group.
It's amazing. I think you're challenged every single day, and that's kind of the reason that I wanted to come to Ohio State. I knew that, I was a very highly touted recruit coming out of high school, and I probably had an opportunity to go to a number of different schools and maybe see the field more than I did my freshman year. But I figured I'd be sliding myself, not taking the opportunity to be able to become part of the best wide receiver unit in the entire country. And I think just being here day in and day out, I've definitely improved far past than what I thought my game could. And I'm just so glad that, my coaches and my teammates saw something in me that I maybe didn't see in myself at the time.
So awesome spending some time with you. Thanks for sharing all of that. And I'm just flashing back to a couple years ago when I think you had 209 all-purpose yards in the Rose Bowl against Utah. Does that sound right?
Yeah,
some good memories here.
That was a great time. It was a historic game, beautiful venue. I'm just so excited to be able to get on that field.
Awesome. We're excited to watch you. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. All right. Kylan, back to you guys in Chicago.
Thank you, Ashley. Excitement is building. The granddaddy of them all, called that for good reason. The oldest bowl game in college football, the 111th edition of the Rose Bowl, features two Big Ten teams in Ohio State and Oregon. Buckeyes quarterback Will Howard is now at the podium.
Yeah, man, we're resilient, and I think, the stuff that we've gone through this year has shown that. And I'm proud of these guys, man, because it hasn't been an easy road. And, when you come into a season with the type of expectations that we had, you're never really going to satisfy everyone. And it's about how you bounce back from those tough times. And it's never going to be perfect. You're never going to have a perfect game, never going to have a perfect season, very rarely. So you got to be able to bounce back from anything that happens and be resilient. And I think that the thing about this team that I love so much is that every time we get knocked down, we bounce right back. I think we showed that in the last game, man. And I just want to finish this thing the right way for these guys and for this university.
A couple of guys I talked to talk about Chip Kelly. They talk about the creative mind that he's displayed over the course of the season. What have you taken away from Chip that's really helped you out of his creativity to be able to be more versatile on the field?
Yeah, with him, he's just such a sharp mind. I mean, being able to be in a room with him every single day is a blessing for me because, he's coached for, as long as I've been alive. And, when I was growing up, I was an Eagles fan. He was an Eagles coach. It's just like, it's kind of crazy to think about the fact that I'm being coached by him. And just throughout this whole year, I think we've become, kind of on the same page about a lot of things. And we've kind of gotten in sync on a lot of things. And he's taught me so much. I feel like, I've been able to give him some perspective on some things. And I think between him, Coach Day, Billy Fessler doesn't get a lot of credit. He's like our, my go-to guy in that quarterback room. I got to shout him out, man. He does so much for me on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. Those guys have turned me into a better player.
Having a guy like Jeremiah Smith at your disposal, seeing his skills, watching him elevate over the course of the season, what are some of the things that we don't see that you all see maybe in practices or finished product on the field?
Man, he's special, and you know, I think it's just the way that he approaches every single day. You know, it's not like he's just going out there and making these unbelievable plays. You know, he's doing it in practice every single day, and he's working at it, and he wants this, you know, more than anything. And when you have a kid that's that talented and that mature at that young age, you don't find that very often. And you know, I'm just thankful that he's on my team, man. He's a hell of a player, and he's only getting better from here. And that's the crazy thing, is that I think when it's all said and done, man, he could be one of the best to ever play this game. And I think he's got that kind of potential, but he's just got to keep working, and I know he will. And he's humble too, man. He's a different breed.
Transferring in, what kind of learning curve was there? Was there a moment where you felt like you kind of had a better grasp of the offense?
Yeah, I think the spring period for me was definitely an interesting transition. You know, really, I realized, and I've told this story before, but you know, there was a play during spring ball where I went out there and just had go balls on either side, and I decided to throw Jeremiah to the field. And I went out and I took a 3-step drop, and I took 2 hitches to throw a go ball. And Coach Day's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, you know, 3 and 2. That's how I throw go balls at K-State. Like, that was the timing that I was taught. And he's like, "You're gonna underthrow it by 10 yards every time if you do that. Here, it's just different. The speed is different." And I was like, that was the moment where I was kind of like, "Oh, all right, you know, this is a different level, different level of speed and talent around me, and I'm gonna have to, you know, raise myself to that level." And you know, going through that whole spring was a big learning curve for me, just learning the offense, because when I got there we didn't have an OC. You know, we didn't really have an OC until about a week before spring ball. So I struggled a little bit in the spring. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have my best showing, I don't think, all throughout the spring. I think I got better as it went on. I don't think I was really comfortable in it till about practice 8 or 9 of spring ball. But really, when we got into fall camp, that was when I felt like I had really settled in and understood the offense, and really, you know, kind of felt comfortable taking on more of a leadership position on the team.
Did the win against Tennessee, did that feel kind of like the culmination of all that work you sort of put in to get up to the offense?
You know, I think it's a step, and I don't want to say that's the culmination of everything, because we still have more that we're chasing. You know, but I think that was definitely a good step, and we talked about, you know, that the first step of the playoffs and getting the first one is big. And you know, I think the fact that we were able to go out there and play well and move the ball, but it wasn't perfect. That's the thing. We still got to learn from some of the mistakes we made in that game. But I think that was good. You know, we got to keep that same edge, though. We have to keep the chip on our shoulder, and we can't let, you know, a little success, you know, make us become complacent, because that's when problems start happening.
Well, just to process.
Media Day continues here with Jack Sawyer, number 33 for the Ohio State Buckeyes, one of the game wreckers on this defense. And you already got a smile on your face, which I love. Tell me what it's like to be on this stage. You've been here before, and yet this is a different opportunity here in the college football playoff.
Yeah, it's exciting. You know, we're really thankful to be here in this opportunity to play in this game. And, you know, what better way for it to be in the second round of the playoffs and here at the Rose Bowl against one of the best teams in the country. So we're really blessed to be here, and we're just excited for a great week of preparation.
Good answer. Nailed it, man. I saw you back there. You had your own podium for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You've seemingly had that since you chose to come on back with a bunch of other guys that came back really mission-minded. How have you been able to navigate the mission that's serious and intense and the fun, which is getting to play a game that you've played since you were a child?
Yeah, I think it's just, you know, approaching every day, you know, with an attitude of, like, thankfulness. For me, anyway, it's just such a blessing to be here and play for my hometown Buckeyes. And I grew up 15 minutes from the shoe, so for me, you know, it's really special. And these guys feel it, too, even though they come from all over the country. So waking up and playing with these guys every day, whether it's practice, messing around in the locker room, whatever it may be, it's just it's a joy for me. And, you know, we're excited to go out there and play this Wednesday night, so we're excited.
And as a hometown kid, you know full well all the pressure and you know, eyeballs that come with playing for this university. What has it been like to navigate this season? Because there have been times when it feels like you guys have played loose and free. I mean, this most recent game against Tennessee was phenomenal, and there have been other times where it hasn't looked that way. So just walk me through kind of how you feel like where this team is right now.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, I think it's tough sometimes, you know, being in Columbus and playing for the Buckeyes because of the fan base is great, but there's also a lot of negativity that comes, when you get punched in the mouth like we did in November. So, so we came together really well, and all of our focus is geared towards, winning these games in the playoffs. And we know the challenge at hand with Oregon, being one of the better teams, and we're really excited to be able to, like you said, we come out against Tennessee really free and playing with our hair on fire, and that's what we're looking forward to do this game as well. Is just let it all out. Because that's the only thing we really can control. So we're really excited for it.
You go back to that first matchup in Eugene. It seems like defensively, it's been a little bit of a different defense. The stats would back that up as well. Yep. Watching it, I think, would back that up. What, in your eyes, have you felt on the practice field around the changes from that game midseason to where we sit now and advance the Rose Bowl?
Yeah, I think that we had to correct some things and get some things fixed, and I think that we've done a great job of that. I give the coaching staff a lot of credit for being able to make those changes, but at the same time, it really wasn't anything crazy or anything extraordinary that we're doing different, but really just letting our athletes play and letting us play fast. So I think that's why you've seen the success that we've had.
Yeah, Jim Knowles talked about it was just kind of a renewed intensity.
Yeah.
It's interesting when you play a team twice, right, which is going to be more commonplace moving forward, but is unique as of right now. You can look at it both ways. It's a benefit, but also maybe a curse. They know you, you know them. Right. It's two different teams and at a different moment and a different stage. Yeah. But the chance to play Oregon again, I know that you guys wanted another shot at the Ducks after October 12th.
Yeah, it was a great game. They're a great team, well coached. They executed better than we did that game, and we're excited for the opportunity to go and play this team again. They've gotten a lot better. Like I said, I feel like we've gotten a lot better. And, we know it's going to be a heavyweight bout, and the team who executes the most come down the stretch is going to win a game. So we're excited for, being able to have this week of preparation and be prepared the most we can for this game.
All these big games that you've played in, and now you're really lengthening a successful career, there's moments, right? Yeah. It's a fourth down moment. It's a red zone moment. It's a pick. You've been a part of big stops before in your career. When you look at this Oregon offense, to your point, really creative and give you a ton of eye candy. How do you make sure that you as the leader in this side of the ball are utilizing the athletes that you referenced and able to play free in those moments in this upcoming game?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the week of preparation we've had, leading up to the game. I think that if you do it in practice, you're going to do it in the game. Coach Johnson always has said that since I've been a freshman. It used to make me mad, if you mess up in practice when you're a freshman, they're not going to play that much in the game. But looking back on it now, he's right. What you do in practice, you're going to do in the game. So, like I said, it's going to come down to who executes the most. Like you said, they get a lot of eye candy, a lot of pre-snap motion. They do a good job of that stuff, and Dillon Gabriel back there does a great job running that offense. So we know that we're going to have to be on our keys, and we're going to have to do our job at a high level and execute to be able to win this game.
Last thing for me, just another thought on Dillon Gabriel, because that was part of the key to last game. He's hard to get to. You guys weren't able to get to him the last time out. What is the key? And you don't need to give away exactly what you're going to be doing differently, but just what's the mindset to be able to try and bring a guy who can use his legs and do all the things that he does well? Yeah,
I think that he doesn't get enough credit for being as good of an athlete as he is. Like you said, he is hard to bring down. He is slippery in the pocket. He's a veteran guy, so he's done this a million times. He's played in a lot of big games, so we know he's going to be on his P's and Q's, but we just have to, like I said, execute and do our job, and if we do that, then we'll be successful.
Looking forward to watching this game. I know Yogi's got more for you, I've got more for you, but we do need to let you play. I know.
And then talk to you. You got this nice, easy demeanor.
There's
you have
this
switch.
Intensity.
Yeah,
I don't know where you have it.
Switch. You got to be able to turn it on and off when you go up the field, so appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you turning it to whatever level it was for you to come and give a terrific interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Best of luck on Wednesday. Kyle, we'll head back to you guys in Chicago.
More to come from Rose Bowl Media Day. We're taking it to the bottom of the hour with our coverage here on the Big Ten Network. More to come. Ohio State wide receiver Jeremiah Smith has been lightning in a bottle this season. He's just the fourth Big Ten receiver this century with a 1,000-yard season and 12 TD grabs. Those tie Rondale Moore for the most by a Big Ten freshman since 2000. Ashley and Yogi with Jeremiah Smith.
Kylan, thank you. We have run out of superlatives to describe Jeremiah Smith, the freshman sensation for Ohio State. Congratulations on just a record-setting season. I'll just start with, what is it like to be on this stage? I know you guys aren't done yet, but being able to play in the Rose Bowl and have three more hopeful opportunities in front of you to win a national championship, what's it like?
It means a lot, especially for me as a young guy, freshman coming in. Means you be able to play in the Rose Bowl. You hear all the great stories about the Rose Bowl, how special it is. Just to have three more games in front of us. I mean, it's a blessing for sure, all the things that we've been through this year.
When long time ago, I played, and one of my roommates was a guy named Larry Fitzgerald.
Okay.
He was a freshman at Pitt.
Okay.
He's one of the all-time greats. You remind me a lot of his game. I'm curious, though, because you have so many different attributes. Strong, you can go up and get the ball. You got quickness at the line of scrimmage. Is there someone that you continue to pattern yourself after? And how has the room at Ohio State continued to allow you to develop at this position?
I'd say, like you said, Larry Fitzgerald, Julio Jones, Calvin Johnson, probably them three guys right there, I should say. But the receiver room at Ohio State, I mean, just helped me a lot in the season that I'm having right now, especially with the three guys, Emeka, Ebuka, Colonel Tate, Brandon Ennis. Really the whole receiver room, I should say, in general. They've just been a big part of the reason I'm having the season that I'm having.
You know, Larry Fitzgerald says that Yogi taught him everything that he knows, so I'll just throw that out there for everybody. When I think about all the different ways that you lined up against Tennessee and some of the different things that Chip Kelly has been able to do and move you around, just what's been the hardest part about learning this playbook and this offense? Because it feels like you have been a complete pro since day one when you walked in, but I'm sure it was like drinking out of a fire hose.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like you said, the playbook was probably the hardest thing coming in as a freshman, just all the things thrown at me. I mean, high school, I was just lined up on one side of the field, and they just tell me a route or a play, and I just run it and get open. But college is a whole different level. We got to move you around, different shifts, different movements going on. I mean, so teams can't bracket me. I'm just outside, so just move me around, create mismatches, I should say.
You've had a series of firsts, right? Because you're a true freshman. Your first game of the shoe, 100,000 people. You had your first road game. You had your first playoff game. Your first at the Rose Bowl. I mean, this is a cool deal. How do you make sure that it doesn't get too much? Is there a process that you have?
I mean, no, just the same process that I've been having since I was since in high school, I should say. I mean, I just want to go out there and play football. Don't think too big. I mean, at the moment, anything like that. But, just always want to have fun with it as well. Yeah.
I think about that game that you guys had against Oregon. It was an instant classic. It could have gone either way in the end. You have 9 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. But you've talked about this week that OPI call at the end of the game is something that you still think about almost every single day. Yeah. So how do you use the motivation from what happened last time out but not let it cloud or overwhelm the feelings going into this one?
The call was, probably was some BS, but I should say, just can't let that call, get the best of me. Just got to keep moving forward. Just get ready for this game on Wednesday, and just play my game.
You're a freshman. You talked about Emeka. We just had Jack Sawyer and JT up here. I mean, a lot of vets came back for a few very specific reasons, one being win the national championship. What have you learned from the old heads, per se, the ones that have been there for a long time in Ohio State?
Just learning from them guys. I look up to all them guys. That's the leaders that came back. Just following their footsteps, the way they're leading this team into the right direction. It's been great so far. Just can't wait to keep this thing going on Wednesday. We don't want it to end too early because I don't know how I feel, but they know how I feel. But, just following them, they leading us in the right direction, as I could say.
JJ, I know that Media Day is about to wrap up, so we'll let you go on this. But just a thought on your quarterback, Will Howard, and how he's evolved and how your relationship has evolved over the course of the season.
Will, that's my guy right there. Just started back in fall camp. Like he always tell me, if you're one-on-one, I'm taking a shot, I'm throwing the ball, no matter who's on you. Like I said, on Saturday, he just told me before the game, if you get man-on-man, I just got to give you a shot, and that's what he did, and I just had to make a play for him.
You've never not been open. That's what I hear. All right. That's the official sign that this is over. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Best of luck on Wednesday.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you.